mean, this was kind of like the original, right, goal. But
what do you like about this? The placement or the tone?
I think it's just the tone. You know,
Okay.
again, like you can see, like, I mean, oh my God, it's like embarrassing, like how much gray is coming out now. I just want it to be like, it doesn't even have to be this color. It's really just, I just want
Something
it
to blend. Yeah.
so I don't have to worry about my roots like every 2 weeks now. It seems like. And then just, I mean, I was kind of like scrolling through yesterday, and I know you did some really nice things with, sorry, I'm not very fast with this.
No, you're good, you're good. What's your color history?
So I've just been kind of like touching up my roots.
At the salon or at home?
No, at home.
Okay.
I mean, I'd be at the salon like 24 hours a day. Just at home with Madison Reed. A couple years ago.
Would you put it all over? Or just
no, like for the last like year, I've just been putting it kind of on the roots, like just probably about up to here or so.
Yeah.
I would say a couple years ago, I tried to like just lighten the whole thing, and so I bleached it and like tried to go like lighter, like more like ashy brown, but it didn't really work well for
when was
me.
that?
That was probably about 2.5 years ago, maybe even almost 3 years
it's all
ago.
been cut off then.
Probably, yeah. And then since then, because my hair was lighter, I tried to keep it a lighter color. So the ends are probably more like my natural color, and everything here is probably more just the color I did after.
Oh, do you only put the root on the top?
I've been trying, yes.
Oh, okay. Is this your natural texture?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Are we doing a haircut too?
I think I need a little bit of a trim on that.
Just on the ends to like reshape it.
Yeah, and also like I don't know, like last haircut I got, it feels very tent-like. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, okay, yeah, we'll like texturize it so it doesn't feel that way.
Okay.
But you normally wear it curly?
I've been, just because now that it's shorter, I can. When it gets a little bit longer, it's harder to kind of like do the curls. Otherwise, I would just like blow dry it or put it up. But,
okay. I'll try my best to get you as light as possible, but if it doesn't, would you be okay with doing more of a violet tone or like ash brown?
Yeah, like I'm more like
Okay.
I really like the ash brown.
Okay.
Like, the problem was like when I did the ash brown, and then it turned into like that weird. I think I showed you the picture, like where it
was too warm.
And then it just turned brassy, very brassy, and I hated it.
Okay.
it just looked ridiculous.
Okay.
Yeah, because then it ended up being like it turned brassy. So you can see like where my roots are. Yeah, you can see where my roots are. And this is when I was going to create, and I thought I'd get it done there. But
so all the colors, like whatever I would do, it is going to fade similar, like how that color fades, but it won't fade as warm as that. That's the only thing.
Okay.
The other thing is you don't have a lot of gray, so I would recommend doing more of a dimensional blend so that you don't feel like you need to come in for maintenance too soon.
Okay.
If we do a heavy blend, sometimes it feels like it's like light to dark as it grows out.
Okay.
Let me show you an example of maybe a dimensional. Actually, the one I just recently posted, she has more of a dimensional blend, and I feel like that would grow out a lot, like it would grow out really soft on you. You see how there's like a lot of depth and there's lightness around it, so when it grows in, because your gray, it's not like super white. There's more dark than white. So I would prefer like this would just give you a lower maintenance look overall, opposed to.
I did love that. I just wasn't sure if my hair would take something like that, but
yeah, I'm talking about the placement. I'm not talking about the tone. If your hair does get this light, we can do something like that. But I'm talking about like the light pieces and where they're placed. I think this would look best opposed to like something heavier like this. Right. Because you don't have as much gray. Yeah.
That's good to know. I thought it was going like completely.
Yeah, like this one is super heavy placement because she had a lot going on and we were doing a corrective color. But you don't have like that going on and you don't have as much white, so I would recommend doing the more dimensional route to make you feel like you can stretch it that like 3-4 months at least. Yeah, and then as you wash, it does lighten up. Depending on how light you get, I'll let you know if the purple shampoo would be good for you or not. Because you got to be at a certain level of lightness for it to work. Otherwise, it just dries out your hair.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, and let's say your hair doesn't get light enough today, we'll do like the ash brown. And then until those areas where we're having a little bit of difficulty kind of grow out, we can go more towards the grayer route when it's like safe to do so.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So this week I have a client who has actually been with me for almost a year now. So this is pretty much some older footage from early spring of last year. And I just wanted to kind of get on here to show you how she started, because I do have footage later on that I want to share and make videos of how her journey has pretty much evolved as she is transitioning to something more low maintenance. And so to start off with, we are going to be lightening her hair for this type of gray blend. And if you are new, I usually start in the back, do a few detail weaves around the nape of the neck here, because anything that the length is below like the chin level, I would say these hairs do hit the ends when she brings her hair in front of her face. So I always like to make sure that I hit these areas and lighten them up so that she doesn't have any dark ends or anything like that. There is that effect to where the roots are more dimensional and there is some color on the ends. And especially too, if I ever have a client and we do a partial, I always try to pop the foil around the nape just to make sure that we get some cohesiveness and blend throughout everything. I generally like to connect all of my weaves around the entire hairline in case they put their hair up in a ponytail or anything like that. I like cohesiveness and things that have connection and look intentional in that way. So anyways, I'm gonna start and we are going in. I did a mohawk section in the back, and if you're new, I love a mohawk section. It just keeps things very simple for me, and it does the job for me too. So when I do touch-ups and stuff, it doesn't make it hard to find my sections that we did previously. So everything below the occipital, I pretty much sliced those foils, and then as we're kind of gearing up towards the top of the occipital where she has her hair parted, and this is going to pretty much lay on top of everything, and some people like to call this section the veil because this is what sits on top of most of the color. So blending this part out is crucial to having it grow out super seamless. And with that being said, I did more of like a small to medium weave starting the occipital all the way to the front. Now that I'm doing her money piece though, I did a little bit of a baby light. Now when I do my baby lights too, I don't like to make them too baby fine because I want to make sure that I can pick them out when I do her touch-ups. And then after that baby light, I did a slice and then I ended off the money piece with another baby light. And then I'm going to connect the money piece with the rest of the mohawk, and I'm just going to continue my small to medium size weaves here, and I try to make sure that my weaves are pretty uniform. When I do a weave too, I always like to slice my section first, and then with the amount of hair I will go in and weave that amount, opposed to if you were doing a more organic weave. The reason why I do a more controlled, consistent weave versus a more organic weave is because I find that when I do a touch-up, it makes it a lot easier for me to pick out the highlights versus the dimension that was left behind. And when you're working with darker levels like this, it's really important to be able to do that so that you don't have any weird banding or dark patches that you left out. I like to be extremely consistent with the weave pattern and my sectioning so that I don't overlap and I can make really clean sections to where I can only lighten what needs to be lightened in every session. So every time a client does come in, and I'll show you later down the line when I post her other videos, I tried to pick up pieces that I didn't lighten the last appointment. So essentially when my clients come in for their touch-ups, the roots are going to be a little bit longer in the foil because those are going to be the hairs that might have not been touched for a couple sessions. And that's how we kind of maintain the brightness on the ends, because I'm picking up those long dark pieces that we left out the previous session. And so now I'm going to go in and pretty much connect that front money piece with the side, and I'm doing a weave off the hairline. And then after I do some baby light weaves off the hairline, I pretty much did some slices diagonal back. And then right now I did a weave above the ear to connect that money piece with the back mohawk section that we originally placed in first. And then after that, I am going to go in and pretty much slice this. I would say all of my foils are about 1/2 inch apart. And as I get closer towards the top of the veil where her visual is, I might space them a little bit less than 1/2 inch apart, depending on the placement of that. And then while I was foiling the root, my assistant separated the hair so that I could do these tip outs. These tip outs are going to help elevate this entire look. I feel like it makes a huge difference when doing a softer blend to where it looks extremely seamless. And you can see I'm over directing towards the top, and my tease is actually very fluffy. I tease from the bottom and lightly tease my way up. I try not to fight the tease too much. I like to keep it as fluffy and diffused as possible. And then afterwards, I pretty much over direct and then weave just to ensure that these teases are extremely undetectable as to where they start or finish, and they just blend right in with the entire color. And the reason why I'm doing teases too is because I want the ends to look lighter. Generally, when the sun lightens your hair, your roots are darker as they are virgin or new hair growth, and then naturally the sun will lighten the ends a little bit. So that's why I really love the effect to having the roots darker and then the ends lighter. So in this clip, you can see she lightened to, I would say, a level 9 at the root, and some of those ends were being a little bit stubborn because of the at-home color that she's been doing. So I'm going to go in right now with the Danger Jones gloss toners for her root shadow. Her root shadow is going to be 5-1, which is a level 5 ash. And we're going to apply that first behind the money piece hairline section. And I'm going in with my assistant to kind of speed things up and just doing about, I would say, 1/2 inch of shadow root before we apply the lighter color. Now for her lighter formulation, we are going to be using the Danger Jones Artistic Toners. And for this, I used their Violet Blonde and Silver equal parts, and then I doubled that with their 5-volume developer. The 5-volume developer, when I double it, pretty much just slows down the processing because the artistic toners are kind of like a rapid toner. I would say it does process quickly if you were to mix it 1-to-1. So I mixed it 1-to-2 just to kind of have a little bit more control as I get through and apply it. And the artistic toners are a little bit different from the gloss toners, so you want to make sure that you're able to really like massage it, spread the hair to get a really consistent application. I feel like the gloss toners are a little bit more brushable and blendable on their own, so you don't have to like work it in so much. I feel like the artistic toners, because it's more of a cream based color, I find that I do have to work it in a little bit more and brush it through to make sure that I get an even application.
How does it feel so far?
Oh my gosh, okay. It's definitely different, but I think it'll make me less angsty about my white hair.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is so
Feels good.
this is great. Thank you.
Your roots look so much
Oh
like
my gosh,
softer.
yes. This is fantastic. Thank you.
Alrighty guys, so here is the finished look. I will say within this last year of doing her hair, the first 2 touch-up appointments after this one, she went about 3 months before doing her touch-ups, and then after her 3rd session of touching it up with me, we began to spread it out to 4 months because the fade and like the regrowth was actually not bugging her, and I had recommended that she could probably go longer in between appointments. But you can see how beautifully her roots are blended in now, and just as this fades out, it's just going to turn into a more blondish tone that she can maintain and control that yellow golden tone with some purple shampoo. Alrighty, so that is it for this week's episode, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in, and as always, I will talk to you guys next week.